Get Rich Slow with John Wolf. Hey, today I want to talk to you about Bitcoin. And I know a million people have said a million things about this, but there are a few misconceptions or misunderstandings about Bitcoin in particular and cryptocurrency in general that I hear a lot of the people I watch on YouTube or smart people in general just sort of, at least in my opinion, get wrong about it. And those are two big categories about it. Now, I'm not going to go deep into the math or get super weirdly specific, but you should know that, first of all, one of the reasons it was super attractive seeming back when I was a freshman in college, and yes, I knew all about it. I was watching a tech security podcast called This Week in Tech, which was amazing. And that was back when you could just set up a hobby rig and get a couple Bitcoins for free on one old computer. That's not true anymore. I really wish I would have done that because I just have some money now from it. But that's not the important part here. Here's the important part. Back then, it was sort of seized on by sort of more libertarian, anarchist feeling people. And a lot of people promoted it as being an alternative for normal banking, which it could be, and also being anonymous or being pseudo-anonymous. And I think it's basically the exact opposite. So one of the whole points of the crypto revolution is the open ledger. And while there's lots of math that we could talk about, the basics are at a bank, they keep an Excel spreadsheet on every individual client. How much money goes in, how much money goes out, how much money goes in, how much money goes out. It's just a ledger, really, fancy ledgers, whatever. It's just a ledger. The cool thing, and it's at the heart of the cryptocurrency idea, is the ledger is now completely public. And one of the reasons that's potentially very good is it makes cheating what happened in the past is supposed to be basically impossible. Now, I'm sure there's some ways to do it, but theoretically, there's no one party who could just be like, we're going to take that one back. They can't, you played Monopoly, bank makes an error in your favor. That's not something that should ever happen with cryptocurrency, okay? However, because of that, it is the exact opposite of anonymous. Every transaction throughout all of the history of the currency ever is tracked, and you can go back and look at it. And while you might be able to get your own wallet or account in the cryptocurrency that isn't directly associated with your name, believe me, it's damn near impossible to make that actually anonymous. And if you think you're clever, you're probably wrong about that. So the anonymity part, which still gets talked about a little bit, is just like completely untrue. If you want to have an anonymous transaction, you should probably do it in actual cash money dollars American or something like that. In that way, it's completely unlike gold because nobody is going to have an easy time telling where a chunk of gold came from if it's been traded a million times, but with crypto, perfectly no. And that goes back, just reminded me of the normal metaphor about Bitcoin as being sort of like a synthetic gold, a fake gold, a digital gold. And it's very similar in that, there is a finite amount of gold in the world. It's really huge amount actually, but that takes a certain amount of energy to get it, and the difficulty increases over time. And basically gold, the value of gold is somewhat related to the available mining claims and the cost of diesel to run the machines. And it's a little bit similar to that in Bitcoin, except for the fact that Bitcoin is designed to have a finite total number. Now, I don't think it's really going to work out that way because there are a bunch of other cryptocurrencies getting created. So I think that'll zap that out. And then that gets us to the real draw for a lot of people. And this one isn't entirely wrong, but I think that people are missing a big but, is that unlike American dollars, and with controlled mostly by the Federal Reserve, the crypto, especially Bitcoin in particular, the number of Bitcoins can't just be doubled. The number of Bitcoins can't be changed by a central authority. It's not supposed to be changed at all. But, you know, we're humans. We make our own rules. I wouldn't be surprised if somehow in the future we decide to and come up with a way of changing that. But anyways, let's just talk about right now. So right now, the hypothetical founder, Shitoki Makinora, who may or may not be an actual person, and I'm not suggesting aliens, I just think it is quite likely that this has all been invented by a 3-letter government agency, if not in America, then somewhere else, probably somewhere else friendly to America. And I just get that by reading the initial Bitcoin white paper. It does not strike me as something that could have been written by a non-native English speaker. And just reading it, it doesn't strike me as something that was written by one person. And that's just my opinion. I have absolutely no way of proving that. And largely, it's not really important. The only way that it will really matter is there was a large amount of initial Bitcoin made by the individual or individuals who founded it. And they, them, are holding a very large amount of the total Bitcoin out there. And there may even be many of the other large account holders that we don't necessarily think are connected could easily be that thing, that same place. So one of the things people like about the Bitcoin is there's a finite number. And technically speaking, although there's people who think this isn't even true, there is a finite amount of gold. But really, if the United States federal government wanted to, and all of those bars of gold in Fort Knox are real and there, which they probably are, then if the United States federal government wanted to, they could drastically decrease the price of gold. They might even be able to do that just by threatening to sell their gold. The same thing is true of Bitcoin. There is enough Bitcoin in single hands that a coordinated effort could be used to devalue Bitcoin as a whole. Even the threat of doing that might be the case. Now, the only thing that would be really different if this was a single individual is, in all likelihood, that single individual is dead. And I say this because I can just not fathom an individual who has that big of a piggy bank not touching it for so long. And also just claiming credit. I'm shocked that no one has come out just to claim the credit. If it was done by the same kind of people who assemble nuclear weapons on behalf of our Department of Energy, then I could see that happening. You don't hear any news stories about the guy who invented XYZ nuclear weapon for very good reasons. They don't want to be known. And I don't want to know who they are. And I don't want anybody else who wants to know the information in their head to know who they are. But I think we have a similar thing going on with Bitcoin. And I do think it's very likely that it is held by some kind of a governmental agency. And again, it's not all of it. And people could very rationally make the argument that it's something that has exploded past the point of control. And then on the other hand, if it is being held by a 3-letter agency or some similar thing, it is quite astounding that they haven't used it to fund the things that they do. So, you know, maybe I've just destroyed my own argument. I'm not sure. I would love to know what you think. Keep it civil down in the comment section. But first, smash that like button. Check out my other videos. Get Rich Slow with John Wolfe. Have an awesome day. Bye.